Here's a question no one asks. Everyone is in debt. Students, homeowners, even entire countries. But if everyone owes money, who's actually collecting it? And who's actually getting rich? By the end of this video, you'll see why the game of debt isn't about money. It's about power. Let's start simple. The United States alone owes over $33 trillion. And that's just the country. Add in credit cards, student loans, mortgages, and the number becomes almost unimaginable. Yet banks look calm. Stock markets keep climbing. Governments keep borrowing. Why? Because debt itself is not the problem. The problem is who owns the debt and who collects the interest. To understand who profits, we need to go back. Banks don't just store money, they create it. When a bank issues a loan, it isn't lending existing money. It's creating new money out of thin air and charging interest on it. Here's the catch. You, me, the average person, we borrow. We work. We pay interest. But the money we pay in interest mostly flows to the banks and the ultra-wealthy. In other words, the system is designed so debt fuels wealth for the few, not the many. Think about it. 45 million Americans carry student debt. Average credit card debt is over $6,000. Mortgages trap people for decades. Meanwhile, a small group of investors, hedge funds, and banks earn trillions in interest. This isn't a mistake, it's a feature of the system. The more we borrow, the more they profit. And it's not just individuals, countries do the same. When governments borrow, private banks and investors collect interest that far exceeds the growth of the economy. And here's the modern twist. The money seems real, but much of it is digital. It exists on a screen, created by central banks and private institutions. You might notice, salaries barely keep up with inflation, but the stock market and luxury real estate keep soaring. Who benefits? Not the person working 9 to 5. Not the student paying off loans. The wealthy who own the debt and the assets it backs. Here's a truth most people never see. Debt isn't a trap by accident, it's a tool. Every credit card swipe, mortgage payment, or student loan installment feeds the system. The real winners? Those who control the creation and collection of money. And the scary part, almost no one talks about it. Not in school, not in the media. So what can we take from this? Understand debt. Know where your money is actually going. Question the system. The rules were written by the few who profit from them. Invest knowledge. Not just money. True financial freedom begins with understanding the flow of money. The next time you pay interest on a loan or see prices rise, remember, debt isn't about survival. It's a game of power and now. You know how it works. If you want to uncover more secrets the system doesn't want you to know, hit subscribe and join the journey. Because in this game, knowledge is wealth. Now, let's ask the real question. Who actually owns the debt? Most people think governments borrow from themselves. They don't. Most government debt is owned by private banks, institutional investors, hedge funds, and pension funds. So when taxes are paid, when governments pay interest, that money doesn't go back to the public. It flows upward to those who already own capital. Interest looks harmless. 5%, 7%, 10%. But over time, interest becomes more powerful than the original debt. You can pay back the loan, yet still lose years of your life to interest. It's a weapon that makes no noise but quietly extracts wealth, month after month. You may have noticed something strange. Prices keep rising, but wages barely move. This isn't accidental. When new money is created, it enters the system through banks and financial markets first. By the time it reaches workers, its purchasing power has already dropped. Inflation isn't random, it's structural. In today's economy, there are two groups: those who sell their labor and those who own assets. Workers fall behind inflation. Asset owners rise with it. Every year, the gap widens, and that gap is where real power lives. If all debt disappeared tomorrow, the system would freeze. Banks would lose profits. Markets would collapse. Debt was never meant to be eliminated. Debt is the fuel, and the global economy runs on it. You're told you have options at Bank A or Bank B, Loan X or Loan Y. But the rules of the game were written long before you entered it. You can choose between offers, but you can't choose the system itself. This video isn't telling you to never borrow. It's telling you to understand the game you're playing. Because until you know how money is created, who controls it, and who benefits from it, you'll keep powering a system that was never designed for you. And the moment you understand that, you stop being just a player and start seeing the board. Let's be clear about one thing. There is no magic escape. No secret button that deletes the system. But there is a strategy. The people who win, ti scamdon ti fight debt, emotionally, understand Italiano. They use it carefully or avoid it completely. They learn how money moves. They invest in assets before liabilities. They think in decades, not paychecks. The system doesn't reward hard work alone. It rewards understanding. And the moment you see debt as a tool, not a destiny, you stop running in circles and start choosing your steps. Here's the final truth. The world isn't controlled by the people with the most money. It's controlled by the people who decide how money is created, who pays for it. Debt keeps the system alive. Interest keeps power concentrated. Ignorance keeps it invisible. Most people will never question it. They'll work, borrow, pay, repeat. But now, you're not most people anymore. You don't have to break the system. You just have to stop being blind inside it. Because once you understand the rules, the game no longer owns you.